We're from the government, and we're here to help you. So we don't want you to mess around with hemp. You might smoke that stuff. I found out that if you want to smoke and get marijuana out of hemp, you have to have a marijuana cigarette as big as a telephone pole. Then you might get
At just 2 years old, Aldi smokes an average of 40 cigarettes a day. He's from a fishing village on the island of Sumatra. His addiction accepted and considered entertaining. Sito Mulyadi, the chairman for the country's National Commission for Child Protection, says Aldi is a victim of his environment. Smoking has been a part of our culture for so long, it isn't perceived as being hazardous, Mulyadi explains. Mulyadi met Aldi in Jakarta, where his mother had taken him to seek help with his addiction. When I first saw Aldi, I saw him as a very bright, self-sufficient, confident kid, he tells us. Mulyadi says Aldi just needs distractions to take his mind off smoking, and that responsibility would lie with his mother. She seemed to regret that her child had grown so addicted to cigarettes, he says. But, he adds, the family's motivation to get Aldi to stop seems to stem more from the financial cost of the habit, around $4 a day, than from the risk to Aldi's health. We briefly caught up with Aldi and his mother Diana at the airport, flanked by a local TV crew. He's crying because he wants a cigarette, his mother tells us. Showing us a scar, Diana says Aldi throws violent tantrums and vomits when he can't smoke. After I gave birth, I quit, Diana, who smoked throughout her pregnancy, says. I don't remember how he started, but one day we went to the market and then suddenly he had a cigarette in his hand. While we were interviewing Aldi, this man taunted him with a cigarette. He told us he thinks it's fine for kids to smoke, that he was just playing around with Aldi. Aldi is not an isolated case. A few months ago, this video of a 4-year-old Indonesian boy smoking was posted online. This child also came to the attention of the National Commission for Child Protection. He went into rehab and is now smoke-free. The Commission says the problem isn't just ignorance of the dangers of smoking. It's compounded by aggressive advertising by tobacco companies. Meanwhile, 168 nations have signed on to a treaty calling for health warnings and other anti-smoking measures. Indonesia is the only country in Asia Pacific not to have ratified the World Health Organization's framework on tobacco control. Legislation has been in Parliament for years. When we called to ask about the delay, the spokesman for the Ministry of Health simply said, "We're still discussing it." Based on a study the Commission conducted between 2001 and 2007, the number of children smoking between the ages 5 and 9 jumped 400%. That's tens of thousands of cases. This is just the tip of the iceberg, Mulyadi says. The number of child smokers are not only increasing, but they are getting younger as well. Aldi's mother says she's going to try to make him cut down and eventually quit, just as she and her husband have done. Meanwhile, the Commission will continue to monitor his case. But the Commission's chairman says it's up to everyone to stop this phenomenon. Inaction, he warns, would not only be a violation of children's human rights, it's tantamount to genocide. Arwa Damon, CNN, Jakarta.
Not important to get children to read. Children who want to read are going to read. Kids who want to learn to read are going to learn to read. Much more important to teach children to question what they read. Children should be taught to question everything. To question everything they read, everything they hear. Children should be taught to question authority. Parents never teach their children to question authority because parents are authority figures themselves and they don't want to undermine their own bullshit inside the household. So they stroke the kid and the kid strokes them and they all stroke each other and they all grow up all fucked up and they come to shows like this. Kids have to be warned that there's bullshit coming down the road. That's the biggest thing you can do for a kid. Tell them what life in this country is about. It's about a whole lot of bullshit that needs to be detected and avoided. That's the best thing you can do. No one told me. No one told me a thing like that. I was never warned about any of this. I had to find all of it out for myself.
It's not about justice. It's not about agenda. It's not about mobilizing people. It's about dialing for corporate dollars. These two parties have sold the U.S. government and the American people to the highest bidders.
The United States of America is a terrorist base of operations.